In this episode of the Orange Nerd Show, we are breaking down that Bob Iger video he dropped today. Crazy stuff about the annual shareholder meeting and how to vote. We're going to talk about it. We're going to play it, actually. Listen to it, break it down, discuss it, give our opinions on it up next on this episode of the Orange Nerd Show. Let's get nerded. Welcome aboard, everybody, to another episode of Orange Nerd, where we talk about everything except the theme parks. We talk about movies, TV, streaming, corporate side. I mean, even today we talked about aliens and reverse engineered UFOs. I mean, it's crazy over here on the Orange Nerd Show. We do some pretty wild stuff. That's why I love it so much, because it is kind of different. But George, the Italiano, I want to welcome you back to the show, brother. It wouldn't be a show without the Italiano. Come on.
Thank you, brother. Forget about it, you know?
Forget about it. If you can let everybody at home know where they can find you on social media, sir.
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you'll find me here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There it is. All right, George, are you ready? Are you ready for some Bob Iger?
Let's watch a little bit of Bob, and no, folks, we are not a Bob Iger dick rider.
No, we're not. Oh, when you say that, I got to play the drop, George.
God, I sound like a Bob Iger dick rider.
There we go. Okay, here we go. So it's only like a couple minutes, so let's just play the whole thing, and then we'll talk about it.
I'm Bob Iger, CEO of the Walt Disney Company. Ahead of our upcoming annual meeting, I wanted to update you about the company's significant recent achievements and share why your vote this year is so important to Disney's future. It has been a busy and challenging time since I returned to the company, but we've made significant progress, and I'm enormously optimistic about our future. Over the past year, we've assembled a new team of experienced leaders, and we've created a much more efficient and highly effective company structure. The steps we've taken to propel Disney into a new era of growth are paying off, as evidenced by our recent earnings performance and the new growth initiatives underway to build our businesses. The team and I have a responsibility to ensure that Disney is one of the most admired companies in the world. This is one of our biggest priorities. We also want to return to a place where we're consistently delivering shareholder value. We've already taken steps in that direction by declaring a second higher dividend and by initiating a $3 billion stock buyback program. All of this takes a lot of work and a laser-like focus on the task at hand, which is why the major distractions we're facing from activist investors are exactly what we don't need. I'm urging you to vote for the Disney Board's recommended slate of nominees on the white proxy card, and not to vote for the nominees presented by these activist hedge funds. You have the power to make sure we are able to continue our momentum from the past year and ensure the success of the Walt Disney Company as the world's leading and most beloved entertainment company. The leadership team at our company is experienced and highly motivated. We're proud of what we've accomplished, we have a clear vision for the future, and we're optimistic about it. Our goals are to improve the quality of the films we produce, to transition ESPN into a preeminent digital sports platform, to turn streaming into a significant growth business with increased reach and strong margins, and to turbocharge growth in our experiences business. All of these goals are achievable. We've already made meaningful progress with each of them. The opportunities before us are very exciting. We know that we have the strategy, the talent, the resources, and the determination to be successful. Thank you for your continued support, and I urge you to vote on the white proxy card in support of Disney director nominees.
Okay, so here I'm going to give you my initial thoughts, George, and then I'll take it over to you.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
Some people are interpreting this as a sign of weakness. Oh, well, Disney, they're desperate. They're desperate. That's why they're releasing this Bob Iger video. I actually think it's quite the opposite. The last earnings call we had was very good. for Disney. Very, very good. Momentum is on Disney's side right now. Okay, absolutely. We had the highest stock boost they've had in, what was it, 3 or 4 years with the 12%. I mean,
Since 2020.
Right. And it wasn't just that day. It's as of right now, at the time of recording this video, those gains have mostly held. I think the stock closed today at like 109 or 110. So it's not going away. It's been a few days and it's still holding those gains. So Disney has the momentum behind, like on their side right now, the wind behind them in their sails. It's not an act of desperation. I think what this video is more likely to be is sort of closing the deal, the closing statement. They know that the momentum is there and they want to kind of, in Mortal Kombat, you ever play Mortal Kombat? Finish them. Yes. It's the finish them moment, so to speak, where it's like Iger and Disney knows that Peltz has a massive uphill battle right now with everything going on. I mean, it really is kind of like he really did knock down Peltz's chances with this last earnings call. And I think what he's trying to do is sort of solidify this momentum going forward now and sort of make sure that this Peltz thing is sort of in the rear view. Now, that doesn't mean I'm guaranteeing anything, okay? Just to make it very clear. But as we stand right now, absent of some sort of huge Disney scandal or disaster between now and the annual earnings call, the annual call in April, I can't imagine this going in Peltz's direction. I just don't see it. I could be wrong, but this video is basically the closing statement from Disney, solidifying their side of it, and they're building on the momentum coming off that earnings call. That's how I see it. I know a lot of people might disagree, respectively. That's fine, and think it's an act of desperation. I just don't see that here. I really don't. It's not Disney who's lacking momentum right now. It's Nelson Peltz and Jay Verzullo. But what are your thoughts, George, on this? What's going on with this earnings call? I mean, this Bob Iger video.
So for me, I completely agree with you. I mean, the earnings call that just came before us several days ago, excuse me, was, as you had mentioned, one of the best we've seen in several years since the pandy and the shutdown and what have you, where all these companies, not just Disney, went through a financial turmoil and they're trying to come out of it, as we speak. It's definitely looking like a bright future for Disney, and I feel like that to solidify this video as saying, okay, this is a sign of weakness, this is a sign of desperation, when they just had a phenomenal earnings call, what would be the purpose of that? They would have to be doing this in another way to kind of, as you had said, like kind of put the nail in the coffin, so to speak, to solidify the notion, you know what, we're up, you're down, and we're going to stick it to you while you're technically still down, because we're going to stay up.
Yeah, exactly. When you have the momentum, you want that momentum to continue, right? So this was a calculated move on Iger's part. So you had the really good earnings call. You got the stock going up 12%. It's holding. So now what you do is that you've had a few days now since the earnings call. So now what you do is you release this video, right? And you lengthen your amount of momentum, so to speak. Like, you're spreading this stuff out now. So it's a smart move on their part. And it's in no means, in my opinion, an act of desperation. Now, look, if he would have dropped this video, maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks ago or something, I could maybe see the case, desperation, but considering the timing, not at all, dude. They're just building on that momentum.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, I also do want to say something too. Our friend of the channel, Seymour Duck, he messaged me this today, and I want to give him credit for it. He was telling me today, he's our financial guy. We love Seymour. Shout out to Seymour Duck. But he's also our Nintendo guy. He loves Nintendo. But he said here, hey, OG55, that $3 billion buyback is very bullish for shareholders. He goes on to continue saying it means Disney feels the stock is undervalued and it will go up in the near future. So this buyback, this $3 billion buyback, is basically an act of confidence going forward, and like it was what he's saying. And these investors see that as like, okay, Disney is bullish on its future. They're confident that things are going to even get better. So just putting it out there. I'm not, honestly, I mean, I have no problem admitting when I don't know something. I'm not an investment expert. I'm not, Seymour is definitely way more knowledgeable on this stuff. So I wanted to read his comments on that buyback, but I'm not really familiar with it, to be honest with you. And but that's pretty cool news. So yeah, again, this is look. I mean, I get it. People are cynical. Oh, Bob Iger. This was the right move. This was absolutely the right move. He's getting his message out. He's closing the deal.
And the numbers, as you had mentioned, are still going up. They closed the day with the stock numbers still at an all-time high right now.
Well, the stock isn't at an all-time high, but it's maintaining.
No, yeah. Let me rephrase that. I'm sorry, not an all-time high. From the earnings call, it's still at its positive.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
it's not dropping. Let's say that it's not dropping. But it is at the all-time high as far as since the earnings call since 2020, I mean, like, or I think it was 2020.
It was a few years ago. I mean, it's been, the stock has really taken a hit, and
it's been fluctuating, but more so it's been on the not so good side,
Well, it's been under 100 for a long time.
Yeah.
And there's been moments where it would kind of peak just barely above 100, and then it would just
drop. Yeah.
And this is why this is important, because the earnings call, I think, was on Thursday. So it went up 12%, and it was well over 100. And, look, I was even like, okay, is it going to maintain that? Because a lot of times Disney will go up, and then all of a sudden it just starts to tank again, and then we're back in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It didn't do that this time. This has been several days now, and it's maintaining. And I think Seymour is onto something here with the buybacks, the dividends, the Epic Game news. Very, very smart maneuver on that, with that whole collaboration. And so there's a lot going on here that's maintaining it to this level, I think.
And then, of course, with the Super Bowl that just passed, we had a lot of the first time trailers for Deadpool 3, for Inside Out 2, for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. So, I mean, that got a lot of traction as well for these big time films that are going to be coming out. And the Moana 2 teaser trailer is still trending on social media as we speak. And The Marvels is actually currently now the #1 viewed film on Disney Plus right now.
Right. Yeah, I did see that. Now, hey, it's OrangeNerd, so let's dive into it. Let's talk a little bit about those trailers from yesterday.
Sounds good.
Now, for me personally, my favorite one was the Deadpool 3.
Absolutely.
I mean, that just, and that whole scene where it's like he's in slow motion, what do you call it? Like refilling his gun. See how I'm not a gun person, so I don't know.
Yeah. Reloading.
There you go. He's reloading his gun. That was dope, dude. That was freaking dope.
And it's not like I know anything about reloading, OG.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So that was really, really dope. I think he had a couple shots in there from about Disney. I thought that was really cool too. It was funny. It doesn't look like they're watering this down. There's a lot of concerns from fans. Like, are they going to Disney-fy this and make it like a PG-13? That's not happening. This is the Deadpool you've seen in the other two movies.
And honestly, and I spoke to you this over the phone, is that I'm doubling down on it, and I'm going to go balls to the wall. I think Deadpool 3 is going to be the highest grossing film of 2024.
It might be, dude. It might be. There's a lot of excitement for this one. There's a lot of excitement, the social media was a buzz. I don't know anyone who thought that was a bad trailer.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any.
And especially Hugh Jackman returning as Wolverine. It's kind of starting the pace to have the X-Men part of Disney's version of the MCU, and eventually the Fantastic Four. So it's what better way to start Wolverine off than kind of teaming up with Deadpool?
Yeah, exactly. Now some of the other trailers, and this is going to be an unpopular opinion because people are like fawning over this, and it doesn't look good to me. Is The Wicked?
I have to agree with you. I love the Broadway musical. I have seen it. But to put the format on the big screen, it just seems like a carbon copy to me anyways, like Oz the Great and Powerful.
I was going to say the same thing. If you look at Oz the Great and Powerful from Disney from 2012, this movie looks like that with the CGI and the whole thing. It reminds me of that. Now, look, it might be a fantastic movie, but all we have to go on is the trailer. And the trailer, for me personally, the job of a trailer is to sell you on the movie, right? It didn't sell me. It reminded me of the 2012 movie. It did. I'm sorry. It did. It didn't look great. Now, Universal did drop the Twisters trailer. Now, that one I thought was really cool. It was, it's kind of cheesy, but I thought that was pretty dope. Did you see that one?
I did see that one.
What do you think?
Yeah, that one would seem pretty decent. I think, like, as far as like for a remake goes, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing it.
Yeah, I was way more interested in that than Wicked, to be honest with you. I mean, we're talking Universal, absolutely.
And I did see the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. That one seemed pretty decent. I mean, I don't know if I'd go out of my way to see it in theaters. I'm kind of I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that I would discount it before seeing it, but I'm kind of like off the Planet of the Apes train, so to speak. Like, there was like so many versions of that movie that was made, and I really did enjoy the trilogy that was recently made. So I don't know exactly where Kingdom falls into the equation. But it still looked like it was still a decent trailer.
Yeah, it was decent. And I'm with you kind of like with that franchise. Like every one of those that I saw, I thought they were fantastic. But for some reason now, I'm not like just running to go see it. I don't know. It's okay. I mean, when it lands on Hulu or something, I'll check it out,
And then, of course, Inside Out 2. I mean,
what'd you think?
I thought it was decent. I thought it was... I'm probably going to see that one way or the other because I absolutely love Inside Out. So the fact that they're bringing out a sequel just in general, I think is going to be great. It's characters that people are already familiar with, plus new faces. I know people were having a little bit of a... I don't want to say an issue, but more so like kind of taken aback with what was it, anxiety? Is that the new emotion?
Yeah. There's been some criticisms of anxiety. I'm okay with that character, because I believe that the girl's name, I think her name is Riley, right?
Riley, yeah.
She's older now, isn't she? Like a preteen or something like that?
Yeah. I think actually a teenager, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I know when I was a teenager, I had all kinds of anxiety. I mean, I had my first panic attack at 16, So wow. I don't know. I think it comes kind of with the territory when you're that age, absolutely. And
it brings the realism out, honestly.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I mean, does that mean it's going to be a good movie just because I'm fine with it? No, it doesn't. I mean, it could still like not be good, but I mean, I'm fine with that concept of having anxiety in the equation. I think it was actually kind of smart of Disney to sort of incorporate more emotions or what have you. It's kind of interesting. We'll see how it is, man. I mean, I don't know. I really liked the last one that Pixar did, the Elemental, and I was surprised because I wasn't really. The trailer and the promotion for it, I thought looked cute, but I didn't have any desire to see it. I only watched it because we did a Story Geeks with Jay. And and so I had watched it the day before to kind of like, to obviously because we're gonna do a video on it. And I'm watching that thing and I'm like, this is a fantastic movie. I loved it. It had a lot of heart. It was very much a immigrant story, very much an interracial relationship story, but they really did it in a beautiful way. I fell in love with it. It's really a great Pixar movie, and it kind of saddens me that it didn't do better than it did because I thought it was great storytelling. But anyway, long story short, if Inside Out is even half as good as Elemental, I'll be happy. Nice. I'll be happy. So we'll see. Now, what do you think about that Disney Plus commercial? The weird one with the text, get ready, or whatever that was.
Yeah, I felt like they were kind of like pushing it like a little bit too hard on that one. I didn't really care for that. Yeah. I get where Disney was trying to go with it, but it's like, I don't know, it's just a little cringy to me.
Yeah, that was a weak point for them. Deadpool 3, I think, won the day, won the night for sure. Yeah. And honestly, as much as I don't like the movie, or not like the movie, but as much as I'm not hyped for Wicked, I think it scored really well with audiences because I see a lot of buzz for that one on social media. So to be fair, what I'm saying, it's not for OG. I don't like it. It doesn't look good for me, but a lot of people, it resonated. It landed with people. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be fair,
If it was an all Blackpink cast.
Oh, dude, I'd be there. I'd be fucking. I'd be so fucking seated. I'd have my tickets already. I'd be good to go, dude. Yeah, dude. Are you kidding me? I'd be doing the. You know what I'm saying? I'd be there, dude. Absolutely. Yeah, it was interesting ads.
Yeah.
Pretty solid roster of ads this year, I think, you know.
Yeah. Now I wanted to ask you because I did bring up um, a little bit ago that the Marvels is currently number one on Disney Plus right now as far as streaming goes. Do you feel like that kind of now solidifies the fact that it's not necessarily the product that Disney is producing, but it's just the fact that people just don't go to theaters anymore? Or
Oh
do you
man.
think that this is more of a like a
I think it depends on the content, and I'll kind of explain what I mean by that. It seems like a cop out, but it's not. I've always said with the theater experience right now, the kinds of movies that people are going to the theater for are spectacle movies, right? So I think like if the romantic comedies, detective dramas, that's the kind of stuff that I think people are like, yeah, I'll wait for Hulu. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to Marvel, anything Star Wars, anything Avatar, you know, these big kind of spectacle films, like these IMAX experience films, basically, they should perform better in theaters. And I think the Marvels should have performed better than it did. It's a spectacle movie. It's a superhero movie. So it's doing good on Disney Plus because I think people, in this case, they didn't have much interest in it, so they didn't want to spend the money to go see it in theaters. So they're like, you know what, we'll just watch it on Disney Plus. That's the kind of movie that people should have seen in theaters, and they didn't. So I think I don't think that it is scoring high for Disney Plus right now means anything for it really, other than that people just waited to watch it because they didn't want to spend the money in the theater for it for this particular franchise. Because I do believe that there's a market in theaters for these big movies like that. You know what I'm saying? So Elemental's a little different because Elemental's a small movie. It really is. It's a smaller.
And I think honestly, Elemental would have done much better had Disney would have picked up on the marketing.
Yeah, they could have handled it differently. Yeah, absolutely. But Elemental wasn't really like that big tentpole, spectacle film. So I can kind of understand that and give it a little more of a pass and be like, yeah, you know, it really resonated with fans when it hit the streamer, things like that. But with Marvels, no man, like anything Marvel, people need to be in the theaters. What are your thoughts?
I actually did see it in theaters. I didn't think it was that bad of a film. Is it a strong suit of all the other Marvel films? Absolutely not by a long shot. And that's what actually got me to ask, because for me, it didn't really come across as that big Marvel spectacle as you usually get, like with the Avengers or Black Panther or Iron Man or what have you. So that's where it kind of felt like what I like to call a Marvel indie film.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's kind of like where it falls with me, where it was a Marvel film, but it didn't seem like it had like that overly productive value that the other Marvel films had.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I think Marvel has to kind of get back to basics, kind of get back into the game. I think Deadpool 3 is a major step in the right direction for them.
And even Iger had mentioned it. He's going to do, less of like the quantity of Marvel and more of just the quality.
Well, yeah, and you need to focus on some of these bigger characters, like the Deadpool and Wolverine thing is like a perfect example of what to do, right? That's perfect, I think Disney kind of got a little bit. I think Marvel got a little bit carried away lately with kind of these like these like B and C tier kind of characters, which are fine when they're sprinkled in with some bigger characters, but I think it kind of got.
For them to hold like the spotlight.
They kind of got away from it a little bit. I think you got to get back into like these big time characters. You got Deadpool now, you got Wolverine, that's great. You're bringing the X-Men in, that's great. This is the stuff they should be focusing on. So they're making the right moves, and dude, it's crazy. It's crazy. Now, were you ever worried, George, about Deadpool, like them like kind of Disney-fying that movie? Because there was a lot of talk in fan community that was going to happen. Were you ever concerned with that? Or
I was, because after watching the first two Deadpool films, I mean, it is far from that typical Disney film
No,
by
yeah,
far.
dude.
And then it's like it's even far from the typical Marvel film. You know, it stands by
True.
itself, and which I love that. I love how Deadpool just kind of stands on its own, and the character itself even panders to that, like
Right.
through a lot of that slapstick comedy. Um, but yeah, I really thought like after the fact that Disney acquired Fox and was going to continue with Deadpool and add him part of their version of like the MCU, I thought, oh geez, are they going to kind of Candy Crush this character into like this Disney-fied type of
Yeah. And
diluted, and it's like you can't do that, not with Deadpool. And I'm so glad, based off of the trailer that dropped, it doesn't seem like it, and I'm so glad that Disney kept to
yeah.
that Deadpool route.
Me too. Me too. Absolutely. And that's the thing too, is like when Disney's a mega massive multinational corporation, and they acquire a lot of things. And I know a lot of fans get into this thing where it's like it's Disney and you know they shouldn't be involved in content like that, you know, like Family Guy and Deadpool and things like that. But here's the thing: when you're a big company like Disney and you're buying these studios or buying these properties, you have to respect the property you're buying, right? Mm-hmm. So, for example, ESPN. Disney bought ESPN. I think it was like in the mid '90s, right? When they purchased ABC. It wouldn't be fair to sports fans to Disneyfy sports, like in the ESPN, just because Disney now acquired it. It's not fair to sports fans. They had no control over that buyout. So when Disney bought ESPN, Disney has to respect that sports fans expect a certain thing. They don't want like Mickey Mouse football. You know what I'm saying? They want fucking football,
Exactly.
Like, so it's like that's the thing with this stuff. And it's the same thing with Deadpool. Like that was a property that was very popular with its R rating. That's what people loved about it. That's what separated it from everything else. You can't acquire that and now water that down. It's not fair to the fans. It really isn't. It's not fair to the property either, the IP. It really isn't. So I'm glad that what we're seeing in this trailer is that they didn't water it down. I'm also glad that they actually poked some fun at Disney. There are some pretty funny jokes in there about Disney and even like cinematic universes and stuff. I thought it was very, very clever. I thought it was hilarious.
Absolutely.
Hilarious.
And that's that typical Deadpool,
right.
You know, like slapstick kind of comedy, you know.
That fourth wall, you know. And I'm not really into fourth wall stuff. You know that, like that meta, like weirdness. But I think Deadpool pulls it off really, really well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really, really well. So interesting stuff, man. But to kind of close it up, kind of wrap it in a bow, this Iger video released, dude, yeah, it's a fluff piece. Okay, there's no doubt about it. He's trying to rally the troops. He's trying to solidify. It's his closing statement, basically, for the annual meet, in April. But it's absolutely coming from a position of strength. Disney has the momentum right now. Pelos does not. I'm sorry. And that might change. I'm not saying that it's going to be that way until it might change. But as we stand right now, Disney has momentum. And I think Bob Iger and Disney are just looking to build on that momentum with this video. That's all it is. And they want to encourage people to vote the way they want them to vote. So what overall closing thoughts, George, before we take off?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. This was not a place of weakness. It was a place of strength on Iger's part and the Walt Disney Company's behalf. I truly feel like it was a message not only for the shareholders, but also a message for these activists that are trying to, come into having a seat as part of the board of the Walt Disney Company. And I speak to everyone who is a shareholder of the company that, if, you have the opportunity, vote on the white proxy card and vote for the given names that the Walt Disney Company is encouraging people to do so, and not these other activist investor companies, So I mean, it's to the if Bob Iger is encouraging it, it's to the best interest of the company that we do that as shareholders. If we want to continue, with the company's legacy.
Right. Well, here's the thing too, that I mean, I think this has actually kind of hurt Peltz quite a bit. I think Peltz hitched his wagon to the Elon Musk train at the wrong time.
Yep.
Elon Musk is, I'm sorry, Elon fans, Tesla is not doing great right now, okay?
And neither is X.
And neither is X, okay? And he kind of got wrapped up into the Elon thing at the wrong time. And I think, look, Elon, I don't know. I think the closeness or the appeared closeness of Elon and Peltz, it might scare away some investors. I really do.
And it's basically like a domino effect. It's a chain, really, because then you have Jay Rizzullo, which neither one of us have any kind of faith that if Rizzullo got a seat on the board that he would change anything dramatically. I don't really think there's anything that he could really bring to the table. But just for the sake of saying it, that Peltz had Rizzullo in mind. So because Peltz hitched himself up to the Elon Musk train, then he carries Jay Rizzullo along with it because Rizzullo was attached to Peltz. So it's like all three of them. It doesn't fit well with the Walt Disney Company.
It doesn't. And then you have Elon today on Twitter or X, whatever, posting like Mickey ears in a weird shapes, and he said D's nuts. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, these are childish like memes, and I get it. You get like the ha 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 from people on Twitter, but he's
doing it in a tasteless way because he's butthurt because his companies are basically falling to cinders.
And Disney pulled their ad dollars. That's what this whole tantrum is about, because Disney pulled their ad dollars from X, and that's what this whole thing is about, dude. But you get that ha 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 moment on Twitter with your memes, but you're scaring off advertisers. You're sending a message to advertisers, hey, you make me mad, and I'm gonna make distasteful, inappropriate memes about you on X. Like, what is that? What kind of message does that send out? You think you're owning Bob Iger, but you're really sending a message to all these other advertisers or potential advertisers. It's a huge red flag. Like, I'm not going to do business with this guy. This guy acts like he's like in high school. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's not a good look, Elon.
It's a sign of weakness.
Well, it's desperation, and it's obvious. You know what I'm saying? It's obvious, and he's not buying Disney. Okay, I'm telling you that right now. Despite all the rumors, he's not buying Disney, and it's just yeah, man, he's not doing himself any favors. He really isn't. And Peltz decided that he's gonna stand next to him and do the big photo op with him, and I don't think it helped him. I really don't.
No,
really don't.
Peltz actually, a lot of people are saying, with Iger saying this and Iger saying that, Iger basically sat back and let Peltz kind of put the nail in his own coffin with that.
Yeah. Oh, Iger should not get involved in the Elon Musk war. You step back and you let Elon act like a lunatic on X, and you let him damage himself that way. Yeah, Iger doesn't have to do a single thing. Elon will take himself. he'll damage his own reputation, do his own thing. Like, Iger doesn't have to get involved in that. Yeah. It's a mess, dude. It's an absolute mess. And it's all sour grapes over this advertising dollars, because Elon knows that X is not doing great right now financially, and he's butthurt over it, and he's mad because Disney. And do you think Disney was ever gonna put ad dollars back in now? Elon decided, hey, I'm gonna burn that bridge. Hey, Elon, you could have maybe worked something out with the Mouse House, and maybe you could have been like, I don't know, an adult, and maybe
really quick, OG, I'm sorry, did you say maybe?
Oh, I did say maybe. Here we go.
'Cause I'm that girl that drives you crazy, but you're killing me alone. Got you thinking maybe alone. Got you thinking maybe alone.
Shout out to Maybe. We love Maybe. She's awesome.
Sorry, Brad, go ahead.
No, you're good. But yeah, anyway, long story short, I just think that, Elon could have handled that whole advertiser thing way more professionally. You could have gone a lot
Any
further.
relationship that he could have gained back with the Disney company,
It's gone.
He basically, he axed it.
He burned the bridge, dude. Disney's never coming back. As long as Elon is running X, Disney's never coming back. And not only is Disney not coming back, but you're sending a message to everybody else. This is how I do business. If you make me mad, I'm going to make disgusting memes about you on Twitter and trash you every single day. It's not a good way to do business. I'm sorry, it isn't. You know what I'm saying? So, look at the stock price for Tesla.
Yeah.
It says so. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But anyway, here, I think I actually have a drop actually for the stock price for Tesla. There we go. But George, I want to thank you so much, brother, for coming on. The Italiano. If you could let everybody at home know where they can find you on social media, sir.
Absolutely. You could find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you'll find me here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There we go with the sticky icky. You know, George over here being sticky. There we go. But George, thank you so much for coming on, and thank you all so much for watching this episode of Orange Nerd, where we talk about everything except the theme parks. We talk corporate, we talk nerd stuff, Marvel, Star Wars, all that good stuff. Even aliens now, apparently. We talked about UFOs and civilizations on other planets yesterday with Slimer and Michael Eva. So we do a lot here on Orange Nerd. But thank you all so much for watching. Comment down below. I just want to say thank you to everybody who supports us here at the channel. We are a small channel, and everybody that joins us and hangs out with us, it means the world to us. It really does. We know you have a lot of options out here on YouTube or streaming and you know, all over the place now, but when you take your time to watch our videos, it does mean the world to us. So thank you so much for liking and sharing and subscribing. OG 55 family, we definitely do appreciate it. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a wonderful day. Bye everybody.
세상은 누구에게나 공평하게 추악해.